Hi everyone! So today I broke my personal record for solving a Rubik's Cube as fast as possible. Now my previous record was 7.38 seconds from a couple years ago, but today I narrowly beat that out with an ever so slightly faster 7.19 seconds. I wasn't expecting to get this at all because, to be honest, I haven't been practicing sighted 3x3 solves for a while. I was honestly just looking for something to fidget with my fingers while I was watching YouTube videos through my headphones. Oh shoot, why does it look so grimy? Don't look at it. But yeah, so I got this, and what was even more surprising about this PB single was that it was full step. And I can't remember the last time I had a PB that was full step, because typically you're expecting these outliers to be lucky in some way with a PLL skip or something. But this solve was non-lucky, so I want to show you what happened. Here's the scramble and the reconstruction if you want to follow along. I don't have any footage of it because I wasn't recording, since I didn't think anything special would happen. But let me go through the reconstruction for you visual learners out there. I know Veritasium made a video saying that there are no visual learners. Anyway, this is the scramble I got for the 7.19. And right off the bat, we can see that orange cross is looking the best because the white and yellow edges are opposite where they need to be. And then the blue edge, the third cross edge, is just one move away from, being correct relative to those. And the third edge, the green one, when you do the move to solve this guy, it's going to be off by a quarter turn from where it needs to be. So the whole cross solution is F and then a D prime to kind of put the empty slot below where it needs to go and then put it in. So now the cross is all solved relative to each other and you just align it. But let's undo that all. Because from inspection, it's helpful to look ahead to first pair. And I feel like I only planned first pair for maybe like a third of solves. And I know I should be doing that for all of them, but sometimes it's just really hard. In this case, it's not hard though, because the only move during the cross solution that affects this white and green pair, this guy and this guy, is the R prime. So after an R prime, this corner is going to come down here, and we're going to have a disconnected 3-move pair right there, which is honestly the best you could hope for. So as I do the cross solution, track that pair and boom, there it is. You can insert it right away. But as I'm doing this, I'm kind of looking around the cube, and I'm a right-handed guy, so I'm sort of looking on the right-handed side, and I see this free pair here, which is really nice. Oh, by the way, in the reconstruction, there's 3 points in which there were other options for what I could do that were faster and would have resulted in a better time, but I missed all 3, so I'm going to mention all 3 as I go along. Anyway, so okay, I'm going to insert this, and this guy can honestly just go in with another L, U prime, L prime, which is just 2 more moves because it cancels. So that's honestly one of the best things you could hope for. But before that happened, I'm still looking around the cube, and I'm still a right-handed guy. I did not switch handedness midway through the solve. So I'm looking around here, and there's this yellow and blue pair, which many of you know will just be 7 moves to insert back here, which is the next best slot to fill in for look ahead. So my plan is, as soon as this goes in, I'm going to jump right into that. But when you put this in, if you look at a Rubik's Cube in this state, if you're just given this from the get-go, the best solution is probably to solve the yellow and green pair, because this is actually another 3-move insert, and that just shows how crazy lucky the scramble is. And that's smarter to do because this pair will not change at all from R, U, R prime because it gets hidden in the back. So from here you can very easily look ahead to all of F2L. But I didn't do that because I was already planning on just firing right into this afterward. So the solution I got was actually a little longer for F2L. So from here, this is about to go in, but then there's this checkerboard thing for the 4th pair. So I'm just going to do like R2, U2, that kind of weird thing like that, which gets the 4th pair ready to be inserted. Now at this stage, we see that this edge is flipped. So if you're a good boy, then the correct thing you should be doing is like a sledgehammer to get edge control. And there's also something else you could do that's even more advanced, but I'll talk about that later. But I think because almost all of F2L was 2-gen, or like it didn't use F moves at all, I was sort of feeling like I was still in a 2-gen mode, so I just kind of inserted it the standard way, which did not give me EO. Now, this is a very nice OLL, and it's just 2 edges flipped. And I know advanced cubers are already like noticing something crazy about this because of this solved edge, but because I was just sort of, I wanted to do it as fast as possible, I just went right into the OLL, which actually starts, like the algorithm starts the same way that this F2L insert ends. So you could cancel stuff if you're advanced, but I'm not advanced. So like that ended with an R prime, and then now it's gonna start with an R to do the OLL. So after you do the OLL, you get a U perm, and I did this U perm the RU way. I know that maybe it might be faster to use the MU algorithm, but it doesn't really matter. And then you do the AUF. So that's how I finished the Rubik's Cube in 7.19 seconds, which is the fastest I've done it since I started cubing 9 years ago, which is kind of crazy how long I've been doing this. But there were many other alternative ways to do that scramble that would have shaved off even more time. So I think the beginning of my solution was decent. I mean, the cool thing is that like typically when I solve, I pause so much, and this one, it didn't really have too many pauses just because so much of the solve was lucky. Oh, I messed something up. Dang it. Okay. I don't know what I messed up. Okay. Technical difficulties, guys. Oh no, I did not mess it up. Okay. So this is the same, you know, cross plus first two pairs. That is the same as always. But at this point, you know, when I was talking about how the more efficient solution is to go for the yellow-green pair because this pair doesn't move. Let's see what would have happened if you did that. You end up with this last layer, which is just fat double soon, I think, which on its own is not that lucky or good of an OLL, but in this case, it gives you a PLL skip. And I think that would have been faster than what I did, but honestly, I don't feel bad about having missed that because I couldn't have seen into the future, and because this was just such a casual session, I didn't expect anything crazy to happen. So I feel blessed to have even gotten a 7.1 at all. So that was faster thing 1 that I could have done. And there's still 2 more. So for this one, let's just assume that I do the same thing of just firing right into the back slot first and then doing this. What would have happened if I just did a sledge insert? Well, then you end up with a ZBLL that I don't know. So that's whatever. But the third thing that I should have done, or I don't think I actually know this trick. Oh no, there's 4. Okay, there's another one that I'm thinking of. Anyway, so you know I talked about how like the end of F2L cancels into the beginning of OLL because it's like R, U prime, R prime, and then the OLL will be R, U, R. Well, from here, like, okay, before you finish F2L, like imagine you're still doing F2L and you're at this point. So much is going to cancel that really the way to think about it is, I guess, if you have this like P shape and like this edge here, and I don't know how much you need to check because I actually don't know the trick. What you should think of this as is just an advanced like insert where you do an M prime and then you insert the block and then that skips OLL. And if I had thought about it that way, then it's like skip OLL and then get a very fast PLL. That's a really nice way to go. And that probably would have made it sub 7, but whatever. But there's actually one more thing I wanted to talk about, which is probably the most likely that I actually could have seen. And it's near the very end, so I just got to do this all again. Okay, so imagine, yeah, like we're at this point in F2L. I don't know how to do sledge, and I don't know how to... Okay, sledge is easy, but I didn't do sledge. I didn't do the weird M prime insert. I just did it like normal. Now this is the thing that I feel like, I don't know, it's something where like 3 blind comes in handy, because what you see is that if this edge is solved and you have all the corners solved, then you have a 3 cycle of edges. And so this is an ELL, but even more than that, it's a good ELL because it's just a 3 cycle. Now, the standard alg that I use that starts with like RU, R prime, will cycle with the 3 edges on the right side. So you might think like, oh, if you just do a U2, because the OLL stays the same, and then do the alg, maybe it's gonna skip the whole solve, but it doesn't because it's actually mirrored from front to back of what that algorithm does. So if you're here, and I guess, what is it? This guy needs to go to the back. What you do is the mirrored version of the standard alg. So instead of RU, like instead of normal sexy, you do like back sexy like that, and then you do M to line up the block, and then you insert the block, and that skips PLL, or I guess it's just an ELL that people should know. And that would have also shaved off a lot of time because, you know, the OLL would have been the same number of moves as what I did. And maybe there's an extra move in there from an AUF. But essentially, we just take the U-perm that was 11 moves and get rid of it. So that would have subtracted 10 or 11 moves and given me a 36 move solution, probably in like a low 6 number of seconds. But I'm not really mad that I didn't know any of that stuff because, yeah, like I said, I was on autopilot, and you know, getting a PB single at all is just a good enough gift from the scramble generating gods. So yeah, this gives me a feeling that it won't be so hard for me to at some point in my life get a 6 single, because I could honestly have a slightly less lucky F2L and get a PLL skip and still get a 6. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like since it's been so many years since I got my first 7, it might be a while. But I also got a PB average of 5 because of that 7.1. I lost the scrambles because my computer restarted without me asking. But my previous average of 5 was 9.41, and now it's 9.25. So that's pretty cool because of the 2 counting 8s in there. And one of them was full step and the other one had a PLL skip. But yeah. Okay, this ramble is probably long enough. Thank you for watching this video about my 7.19 PB single. Bye.